Welcome. You are listening to the Play Big Queen podcast. This is for you if you are a woman who is an entrepreneur, business owner, professional, leader, or someone who is deeply committed to personal growth, self-improvement, transformation, and living authentically. This is especially for you if you have an invisible disability, whether you are diagnosed, undiagnosed, self-diagnosed, or late diagnosed, and you are working on reclaiming your neurodivergent identity, rebuilding confidence, learning what works for your unique brilliance while breaking free from small people-pleasing conditioning. If you are a visionary change maker interested in advancing your leadership and creating success on your terms, and you want to leave a legacy, if you are navigating disability or neurodiversity as an individual or as an ally, and you are looking for a supportive and inclusive environment to thrive, then this is for you. I am your hostess, Kate Bailey. I am the Play Big Queen. My name is my title and a command for all women. Play Big Queen. I invite you to claim this title for yourself and coronate your Play Big self too, if it serves you. I am a business and embodiment mentor working with women who are ready to rise the fuck up and be your bold, beautiful, sexy ass self, start and grow your big, bold vision, and claim that you too get to have your boldest desires. I am the creatrix of Kate Bailey LLC, which provides coaching services, educational courses, products, and experiences that promote success in neurodiversity advocacy, women's empowerment, embodiment, entrepreneurship, and business to serve women on their transformational journey. To learn more about my company offerings and to get on my email list, go to xxxkatebailey.com. If you would like to learn more about my work, my personal values, my mission, and my community, make sure you catch the last 5 minutes of this episode to go deeper and learn so much more. On this podcast, sometimes we will have guests. Sometimes I'll do solo episodes, but every single time you listen, you will expand. So get ready. It's a new era for women on the Play Big path. Long may we reign. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to another enlightening episode of the Play Big Queen podcast. People say shorter episodes are better for SEO and get better reach, but I seriously don't care about that right now. Hopefully you listen to the end because I guarantee it will make you think and make you want to raise the bar in your own coaching practices. And a free podcast episode that helps you up-level your coaching leadership? No brainer. For the past week, the journalist in me has been on a mission on social media, and I've been writing these long-form articles as posts on Facebook, shedding light on how toxic exclusivity, marketing, and branding practices in the coaching industry disproportionately impact individuals with neurocognitive differences, invisible disabilities, and marginalized identities. Now, I should say, sometimes I am passionate and I can come off a little strong, and I think some people may have misinterpreted my love and advocacy over the past couple of weeks for pettiness or animosity. But if you're questioning where I stand, I want to make it really clear. I love the coaching industry. I truly believe in the power of quality coaching for neurodivergent persons and persons with invisible disabilities when we are engaged in healthy power dynamics in coaching relationships. And maybe I'm an idealist, but I truly believe in our collective ability to steer the industry into a future that operates with more integrity, inclusion, and positive impact. That is why I shared these full-on articles this past week about the things that I see that have room for improvement the more and more we become conscious of them. My goal was to advocate for harm reduction in coaching and encourage more ethical, inclusive practices. And there is a lot to unlearn, but a great starting point is this now mini collection of blog articles that I've shared on my website at xxxkatebailey.com. Now, excuse my website, I'm still updating it, and all the website thingies aren't working right now, and fonts are out of place all over the place at the time of this recording. But if you go to xxxkatebailey.com and go to the blog section, you can see all the articles that I posted to social media over the last week. These articles dive deep into topics like neurodiversity and invisible disability advocacy insights for navigating toxic coaching spaces, the spectrum of ethical coaching, scam coaches versus ethically exclusive coaches. I go into the dangerous mix of magician archetype branding and pain point marketing for marginalized communities. There's an article in there about why humans are more motivated by pain than pleasure and why we should collectively refuse to market to pain. There's an article on how to spot coaches who claim to be trauma-informed but cause more harm, where I go through red flags versus green flags in trauma-informed and trauma-trained coaching. I also have an article on how to handle tricky client situations ethically for coaches who want to incorporate more ethical practices. And if you read any of those articles, I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can connect with me on social media or send me an email at info@playbigqueen.com. But this episode, it isn't just about calling out harmful coaching practices. It's also about holding myself accountable and making real changes. And because of that, I'm going to share some of the shifts that I am committed to making in my business. The biggest thing is I want to fully remove pain point marketing from my business. When I first learned about marketing, I was taught that pain point marketing was just marketing, right? And that was unintentionally my foundational language for marketing. It is for a lot of people. And if you've ever tried to unlearn a deeply ingrained habit, you know how difficult that can be. This is what I know as the blackboard effect. When we first start learning something, our mind is kind of like this clean slate. It's open, it's eager, it's unburdened. But when we have that first lesson written down on the chalkboard, on the blackboard, every new insight that we gain kind of gets layered on top of this chalky residue of that first original teaching. And to change, we don't just need new knowledge. We need to go back over the residue that got all over everything and scrub the board clean. Going forward, I am making intentional shifts in a lot of areas, right? Like I've evolved what I know about marketing, like way beyond like the basic pain point marketing, right? Every piece of content, every piece of copy and messaging that I'm going to do going forward is going to aim to be aspirational and not fear-based. I'm going to ask myself and audit myself, right? Am I pressing on wounds to drive urgency? And I'm going to remind myself that I want my clients to say yes from a place of empowerment, not pain. Right? Sometimes there's going to be urgency. You might actually have doors closing at a certain time because say your program is starting like June 15th, like that would be like genuine urgency. The program's starting soon, like you're going to get in, right? But doing it ethically would be like, yeah, I might run it next year. I might not. I actually don't know. Or, oh, I've already decided I'm actually running the program next year and giving the people the opportunity to honor their own timing when it comes to your offer instead of having these like pressurized environments. For me going forward, it's going to be really important to continuously audit my marketing to ensure that like I'm not pressing on wounds to drive urgency. I didn't want urgency and pressure in corporate. I don't fucking want it in my business. And I don't want it in my marketing. And so this is also going to be about me getting rid of like the old habits and behaviors that I have from that whole world as well. I'm also going to be working on being even more transparent in my sales and offers. Like being vague is not something typically that's my style, but I'm going to be even more precise going forward about what's inside a program and what people can expect before they invest. I'm going to continue to refine my ethically exclusive sales processes to ensure that I'm only working with people who are truly aligned for the offers that I put out at the time that I put them out. I'm going to continue ethical autonomy-first sales with no pressure, no false urgency or scarcity marketing tactics. Clients get to remain empowered to make their own decisions without being shamed, guilted, or manipulated. Not like I resorted to those tactics anyways, but like really having this as a staple pillar in how I do my marketing going forward it's going to be like explicitly stated and practiced consciously and intentionally. And I'm going to keep building a coaching business that's accessible and trauma-informed and neurodivergent affirming. Again, my coaching style obviously is already neurodiverse affirming, but I'm going to be even more intentional about ensuring my programs accommodate different learning styles and lived experiences. I also still have more work to do about making sure that like the tech is inclusive, right? Like right now, I have an open door policy where if anybody needs anything that they're not getting, they can come to me and we'll figure it out. We'll get it to them. But like I want that stuff baked into my program ahead of time. Another thing I'm working on too is like I am going to be actively rejecting the ableist productivity and toxic hustle culture that runs rampant in the coaching industry. I have this saying that all my clients know. I say this ad nauseum, which is value your own unique way and honor your own timing. But like I'm taking that to a whole other level, and I'm going to continue to include myself in that process too. Another thing that's going to be explicitly stated in my business is absolutely no forced breakthroughs in coaching spaces. I have never, and I will never push a client towards an emotional reaction just to create the illusion of progress. But I think what's really important for me in my advocacy work is to continue to talk about how to identify that so we can continue to advocate for harm reduction within the coaching industry. And of course, my coaching spaces are going to continue to be paced, supportive, and respectful of nervous system regulation, even as I decide to scale in different ways with different opportunities. And I'm so committed to continue learning and just recalibrating, right? Constantly evolving and like refining my marketing, sales, and coaching strategies to align with my ethical standards. And I say all this to share how, for me, this isn't just about like trying to fix an industry, right? This is about showing up differently and starting with myself and sharing my process and like being really transparent about what I see and what I've learned so far, and being willing to name those things, knowing that I've got work to do on it too, right? So I really want to talk about why these shifts are so necessary and why the coaching industry is so overdue for like a massive reckoning, like we all are. Again, I have used pain point marketing in the past, and at the time I didn't even realize that's what it was called. I just thought it was marketing, but like it always felt kind of gross, right? Like there are so many feminine energy coaches out there who claim to be heart-led, but what they're actually leading with is heartbreak, and they lead with pain to make sales. And for the longest time, like I just started parroting that language too. I just started mimicking it, but it never felt right. Like I never used those tactics inside my coaching containers, but in my marketing, yeah, I let it slip in. I thought it would like be the thing that helped me make sales and help people who needed the help get the help that they need, right? And the moment that I really, really knew that I had to make a change was when I started working with neurodivergent clients, and I saw firsthand how the coaching spaces that they were coming to me from were burning them out, gaslighting them on all of their fucking challenges, completely invalidating their lived experiences. And, you know, I was also seeing myself in a lot of the things that my clients were saying. I had my own experiences too, right? I remember being in coaching spaces where I was just struggling, and instead of getting real support or accommodations or like the things I needed to be included, I just got bumper sticker reassurance. Like, you are so not alone, or that must have been hard, but like everyone struggles and you got this, or it's just a mindset thing, which made me absolutely crazy, right? Because a neurocognitive difference is not a mindset issue. It was just like invalidation disguised as empowerment. And the same people who refused to acknowledge my struggles were the same ones who were pressing on pain points the hardest to manipulate people into buying. It was like pain point marketing was their own personal money button, not their actual gifts or talents or brilliance. I mean, maybe for some people, their one gift or talent is like fucking people over and doing pain point marketing, but like that's not how coaches position themselves in the industry, especially these like feminine coaches, right? Like they position themselves as like caring and compassionate and like standing for your success and your big, bold vision and holding it with you when you find it hard to hold. And then like this is the talent that they're exercising, is how good they can do pain point marketing. And that brings me to like what I think is one of the biggest problems in the coaching industry. Coaches selling what makes money instead of what they're actually authentically good at. Like we need what people are good at, but what they're selling is what they think makes money. And you see it all the time, right? Business coaches who've never run a real business, or they like don't tell you specifically which area of business they are talented in or trained in. Like, I mean, I'm not perfect and I'm not saying this to like put myself on a pedestal, but like I'm very transparent with clients. I'm like, my business knowledge is in identity, branding, early stage development, conceptual development, confidence, embodiment. I could do product market fit. And now I'm like working towards data analytics. I'm also knowledgeable about a lot of the systems that go into like home-based businesses and funnels and things like that, conversational modeling for sales. But like, I'm not the person that you want to talk to if you want to do pain point marketing. Like, I'm about intentional, sustainable building. I have no problem telling a client, like, I am not the person for you. But we'll also see it in other industries too, right? Like weight loss coaches with no actual background in nutrition. They do like no medical testing on their clients. Mindset coaches who repackage like basic understanding of therapy without proper training. We even see relationship coaches who don't even have a supportive relationship with themselves. And what happens when someone sells something that they aren't truly skilled at? They bullshit their way through. They create an endless upsell cycle. They convince people that the next investment will unlock the real transformation. And for neurodivergent folks, this becomes even more dangerous. ADHDers and folks with invisible disabilities are 300% more likely to start businesses. We are 300% more likely to seek business coaching, and we are 300% more likely to be exploited by manipulative marketing. And this is why pain point marketing preys on neurodivergent brains and marginalized communities more. Pain point marketing is so effective, especially on neurodivergent people, because it's not just about the intent to buy, right? Like it's about neurology driving the buying. I mentioned that ADHDers and neurodivergent individuals are 300% more likely to start their own businesses, which makes us prime targets for business coaching, right? But what makes us vulnerable isn't just the desire for freedom and flexibility. It's the way our brains process risk, reward, and urgency, combined with the systemic challenges neurodivergent people face in occupational environments that were not designed with them in mind. And I'm not a neuroscientist, right? But I've researched this, like as part of my research and work in my classes. Like I've gone deep into the stacks, okay? And here's what happens on a neurological level when a neurodivergent person is hit with pain point marketing. ADHD brains have a low baseline of dopamine because we already produce less dopamine, the neurotransmitter that's responsible for motivation, reward, and pleasure. This makes everyday tasks harder to motivate, initiate, sustain, which is why we crave these big dramatic shifts. We have a high sensitivity to reward and risk. So because our dopamine is low, a lot of the time we're going to crave high risk, high reward situations that are going to spark that dopamine, right? So we get excited by these big transformations. If something promises huge results, we want to say yes, and we want to say yes fast. And when marketing has a message that presses on a wound, like are you struggling with X? And then immediately offers some sort of relief, like, this is your one chance to fix it forever. It triggers that dopamine spike. It's the urgent action formula, right? Pain plus promise equals urgent action. And that spike is what pushes people to buy impulsively. This is exactly how casino gambling, pyramid schemes, and predatory coaching programs exploit neurodivergent and marginalized people. They leverage pain plus hope, which equals impulsive investment. Because of this neurological difference, which can sometimes be a neurological vulnerability, neurodivergent folks often say yes to coaching programs they're optimistic about, but then later struggle to sustain payments. They expect an unrealistic transformation because of how coaching is marketed to them. They blame themselves instead of the marketing when the program doesn't fully deliver. And that's when the shame cycle starts, right? Instead of saying the coach or the marketing was misleading, typically we say, maybe I wasn't committed enough. Maybe I have too many blocks. Maybe I'm just in a scarcity mindset, or maybe I'm just not cut out for success. When in reality, the program was never designed for neurodivergent people in the first place. And that's why coaching businesses need to do better. So why do so many coaches still use pain point marketing and scarcity tactics, even if they're not actively trying to be unethical? The short answer, it's profitable as fuck. The longer answer, because it works. Most people aren't aware of how deeply manipulative it actually is all they see is the benefits. But there's a reason it's called pain point marketing. And there's a psychological reason why pain point marketing is so effective. Survival instincts prioritize avoiding danger over seeking joy. If you tell someone, this program will help you feel amazing, they might consider it. But if you tell them, girl, if you don't invest in this program, you are choosing to stay stuck. That is a whole other message that creates urgency and fear. The brain immediately starts racing. It goes, I don't want to stay stuck. What if I'm like this forever? Touching on pain and fear is exacerbating the strongest emotional state based in basic survival. It turns people from logical thinking human beings into primal animals that are just reacting. And coaches default to pain point marketing because they want to motivate people to buy, and fear just motivates more than pleasure. And sometimes some really well-intended coaches know that in order for people to make a change, they need a good kick in the ass. But at what cost? Tough love typically does not work well as a coaching strategy for neurodivergent clients, and marketing is not the same as coaching. If tough love really does apply for your client as a coaching strategy, then do that when they get in the container. Don't put that in your marketing, because the cost of pain-motivated marketing is people invest from a place of panic instead of a place of alignment. They go into financial distress chasing a solution that might not be right for them. And when it doesn't work, they internalize the failure instead of recognizing the manipulation. And I know this because I've fallen for it too. And I thought that this was the way to market too. And my heart fucking broke when I saw the effects it had on people. It's just not right. And look, I'm not saying every coach is a scammer, because they're definitely not. But many exist in the gray zone between ethical and harmful practices. This looks like using pain points excessively without offering autonomy-affirming solutions, overpromising results beyond what a program can reasonably deliver, not vetting clients properly, just accepting anybody who can pay, and blurring the line between coaching and therapy, especially in trauma work. And here's another thing. I don't think most coaches are sitting around saying, how can I manipulate people today? But I do think that a lot of coaches learned unethical sales tactics without questioning them. And never questioning whether or not your marketing is ethical is willful ignorance for the sake of profit. It's like being in a relationship with someone and pretending that they don't hit you. Instead, you're just pretending that you're not hitting your clients. And listen, profit's not wrong, but we can all agree how we make profit off of harming people is kind of fucked up. So it's time we start questioning everything. If you're someone who's looking for a coach, here's how to protect yourself and how to make sure you're investing in a program that actually supports you. Number one, look for transparency and not hype. Ethical coaches will outline exactly what's in their programs, not give these vague promises, and they'll kind of like ground you and anchor you into the reality of like what are typical versus atypical results that their programs get for people, what's required of you to like really be able to work the program. Also, look for high pressure sales tactics. That's like a big red flag, right? Someone telling you, well, if you don't invest now, you're choosing to stay stuck. Or being like, well, what are you going to do about this? It's now or never. It's one thing if you're all like gung ho, like now or never, it's my time, it's my year. But if the person selling to you is like that and you're feeling like kind of pressured, yeah, it's a no-go. Another tactic is like, this is your last chance before prices go up forever. I mean, listen, we got to motivate people to buy. And like, maybe it feels good as an individual coach to be like, well, I want to reward people who move faster, right? Like operant conditioning. But as the potential buyer, I want you to hold on to your autonomy in those moments and be like, I can trust when the timing is right for me. What is for me cannot pass me by. Yes, this might be a unique opportunity, but there's limitless amounts of unique opportunities in life. And don't let yourself get caught in that like highly pressurized scarcity mindset trap that they like to put you in when they start selling to you. It's also important to be skeptical of overpriced programs. Like high ticket doesn't always mean high value. I mean, you can spend a lot of fucking money at Disney World and just stand online, even if you have the fast pass and stay at all the best places and the rides can still be shut down, right? Big investment doesn't always mean big payoff. It can. And in marketing, like people know that like higher price point means higher perceived value. But ethical coaches are always going to help you make an aligned decision and not put you into financial distress. If you're like on the cusp and you're just starting to play with bigger numbers and investing in yourself, like on a larger scale, it's important to remember that like if you don't understand how people who have a lot of money think, don't assume that they just like spend thousands of dollars and don't think about it. Like people who make millions of dollars also carefully consider their investments. It's okay for you to take time to carefully consider where you invest your money. And then, like, above all, I just want you to trust your gut, right? When you're shopping around for coaches, like, if something feels off, listen to it. Notice where you find yourself, like, chasing or not speaking up or pressuring yourself or feeling like you're not allowed to take any time to think about it. Just like a good relationship will make you feel secure, a good coach that really cares about delivering on the investment that you make is going to want to make you feel secure about your investment and answer any questions that you have. So if something feels off, like you just don't have to entertain it. And sometimes we don't even have words for it, right? The body has an intelligence of its own. You just might notice your body contracting or feeling like just a general sense of ick around the person. Like you don't even need to like put words to it. Like that's enough sometimes. You can trust yourself. And if you're a coach listening to this, there are a couple of ways that you can start shifting your practices now, right? Like, first of all, it's just like really important to take the observer perspective. Don't judge yourself for anything you've done in the past. Just like notice it and see, is there any practice or way that you approach your business or marketing that you might change today, knowing what you know and where you're at today? Like, what's your next iteration of marketing and business look like if you're not just so focused and freaked out on like trying to get the next sale or get some traction, right? Like if you have freedom in your business and you want to build something sustainable, how can you start integrating like a higher quality of integrity into your work so you have more industry staying power, so your reputation truly does precede you? comb through your business, see where there's any residue or unintentional manipulation left over, and see where you can step into your leadership and shift into transparency. Is there anything that needs to be communicated about how you did things before and how you want to do things now? Get clear on what is going to be your protocol and standard operating procedures for ethical selling practices. Make sure you're always centering client autonomy and trusting their lived experience. They are the authority on it, not us, right? And see where it's possible too to ditch any high pressure sales tactics. Where can you build up your authority in the industry so much that you don't need to pressure? People just know you're fucking great at what you do. And if you're not already doing this, make sure you build genuine relationships, not just a sales funnel to rotate people through. And that's just good business practice anyways, right? We never know where another sale can come from. Even if somebody's not actively purchasing every offer, they could be singing your praises and increasing word of mouth marketing for you. So really focusing in on genuine relationships is so helpful. At the end of the day, I want this industry to be better. I want coaches to do better. And I want clients to be empowered in their decisions. If you've ever been manipulated into a coaching program, please hear me when I say it wasn't your fault. You weren't dumb. You weren't naive. You weren't in your pattern. You were literally targeted. And that doesn't mean we have to go into victim around it, but being aware of the power dynamics at play and choosing to relate to them differently from our autonomy is everything going forward. And now, hopefully, you have some tools to make some different choices. And from my fellow coaches, if we say that we are here to lead transformation, then we need to start by transforming ourselves. If we're ever going to shift the industry into this vision that we all have for it, where people are empowered, good people with good money are doing great things. If that fucking vision from spiritual coaching La La Land, which I fucking love, is ever going to become a reality, we need to stop talking one thing out the side of our faces and doing another. We need to start actually getting more ethical and getting into integrity with how we believe people should be treated. And listen, I am not the fucking epitome of ethical. Far fucking from it. But I am willing to look at what needs to change and take steps to do better. I'm willing to grow into who I am being called to become in all of this at the intersection of coaching and visible disabilities, big visions, and a desire for more freedom and impact. I'm definitely not always going to get it right, and my language will not always be perfect, but aspirational, ethically exclusive marketing and programming is now my true north. And I am devoted to calibrating and recalibrating towards that as I continue moving this play big queen ship forward into the future. They say a rising tide lifts all boats. I would love to be driving my ship and look to the left of me and look to the right of me and look ahead and behind me and witness us all sailing on calm waters with blue skies on big fucking eco-friendly yachts in formation together. So get on board, bitches, because a better coaching industry awaits us if we have the courage to go first. My queens, I have a quick update for you. If you've listened to the past podcast episodes, you may have heard me mention that the Play Big Queen confidence and embodiment exercises were available as a free download. And that is going to be changing because, well, I realized something very important. These exercises are way too powerful to be treated just like another freebie. And women, myself included, absolutely must get paid for their brilliance, gifts, and labor. So I've decided to upgrade the confidence and embodiment exercises into a premium mini offer for just $22.22 because confidence and embodiment deserves to be valued. Also, this isn't just a PDF. It's a whole transformational toolkit designed specifically for neurodivergent women with invisible disabilities to gain more confidence and embody their brilliance. If you've been meaning to grab it, now is the time, because for my OG podcast listeners, because you've been here since the beginning, I'm going to give you one last chance to grab these exercises for free before they officially become a premium offer. If you're listening during Black History Month, which is anytime from now until February 28th, 2025, head to playbigqueen.com and enter the coupon code OGPBQ100 to get 100% off and download the Play Big Queen confidence and embodiment exercises for free. After that, they'll be available for only $22.22, which honestly is still a steal for what is inside. That coupon code again is O as in orbit, G as in George, P as in play, B as in big, Q as in queen, 100. That's OGPBQ100 to get 100% off and download the Play Big Queen confidence and embodiment exercises for free. The coupon will expire on the last day of February 2025, so make sure you head over to playbigqueen.com and download the exercises. Okay, that's it for this episode of the Play Big Queen podcast. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. As always, eat the fruit, spit out the seeds, take what nourished you, keep what resonated for you, and leave the rest, because ultimately, you know best. This episode is over until next time, but we can keep this thing going. Go to xxxkatebailey.com, scroll to the bottom where it says join our community, and get on the email list to get all the juicy details about all my offerings and where Play Big Queens play together online, on social media, and in person. We've got a tight community of women claiming their boldest desires, celebrating wins, playing all out, fiercely standing for each other, and going higher together. Go to xxxkatebailey.com, put in your email address, and confirm your subscription. Once you're in, you'll get all the juicy guides, tips, and inspirations, and you get notified first about all the offers we have for all the big stuff we're doing over here. Go to xxxkatebailey.com to stay in the loop. That's xxxkatebailey.com. If you like what you heard in this podcast, subscribe, share it with your friends. And if you got something from this, I would appreciate some reviews and ratings. When you take the time to review the podcast, it helps our podcast get out to more women who need it. If you haven't already, head over to iTunes and Spotify and show Play Big Queen some love. Also, I want you to know that my door is always open, and I will always make space for you to be heard and to honor your experience. The views expressed in this podcast are through the lens of my personal identity and my own lived experience. I am a European mix, Mediterranean mutt who is an Italian, Sicilian, cis heterosexual woman born in New York, experiencing the world in a white body as a multiply neurodivergent who lives in a neurodiverse and racially blended family. And like everyone else, my one single perspective comes with its own limitations. I have done personal and professional work around anti-racism, diversity, equity, equality, and inclusion. I am not a therapist or doctor, and any coaching or advice cannot take the place of professional medical, mental health, or healing help. However, that being said, what happens in my work is often a very powerful, additional, supplemental, or alternative way to heal around identity work, mindset, and emotional wellness. Although I am not a licensed therapist, it is worth noting that in addition to being a mentor, I am trained and certified in emergency medicine and response. I have rendered care to over 20,000 patients in the course of my career. I have taught over 15,000 students, many of which had learning disabilities that were undiagnosed and came from diverse cultural backgrounds. I was also a private health college adjunct professor who was responsible for training medical professionals on how to respond to trauma and behavioral emergencies. If you approach me with any concern, you will be met with professionalism, compassion, tact, understanding, support, and a readiness and a willingness to advocate for your needs. That being said, sometimes I just get it wrong. I am a human being on my own growth journey after all. When I mess up, I'm always available for a courageous and crucial conversation that makes way for growth and healing. Your experience and voice matters to me. I sincerely welcome any feedback you feel called to share. You can email your comments or concerns to info@playbigqueen.com, knowing that I am open to having any and all crucial conversations needed. Okay, remember, you are brilliant. Celebrate yourself, value your own unique way, and honor your own timing, because you can totally create a life and business that feels good and is successful on your terms. Remember to release expectations of what you think your play big process should look like, and be willing to do the work that needs to be done to play big. But most of all, when you come face to face with your boldest desires, remember to trust yourself and play big, queen. Hi, queen. I see you're in it for the long game. If you reach this part of the podcast episode, it means you're interested in learning more about my work, my values, my mission, and my community. So let's go deeper together. I am here to activate neurodivergent women to play bigger and to show you that you are so capable of doing big things, and that if you value your own unique way and honor your own timing, you will learn to receive your boldest desires and so much more. In my world, what makes you different is valued, celebrated, honored, and welcome. I welcome all who identify as female and non-binary folk in my Play Big Queens community. We believe in and support LGBTQIA+2S, Black Lives Matter, women's and pro-choice rights, and obviously intersectional identities, including disabilities, neurodivergence, and religious beliefs. Personally, I am pro-sex worker rights, pro-Palestinian liberation, against Islamophobia, and against anti-Semitism, and I'm also against any cult-like religions that use beliefs as an excuse to indoctrinate people into abusive, autocratic systems. Like many neurodivergent people, we have big hearts and a strong sense of social justice around here. You are encouraged to stay and play in our Play Big Queen community if you share these values. For those who find the word queen does not resonate, perhaps because of imperial associations, the Play Big self archetype can take any form, and the invitation and activation remains the same. To learn to embody your Play Big self, to operate from love instead of fear, to go on a play big journey in community, because you know that no play big queen can truly play big alone. To decide to cultivate the courage to use your voice, unmask, reclaim, embrace, and embody your brilliance, and create a life and business that works with the unique way that you work. Through this work, you will come to know the truth of your brilliance deeply. And as you come to know your authentic self, more and more will begin to open up for you. Knowing your unique brilliance will lead to great success and true belonging. In this world, we take the pressure off and learn to step off the traditional path so you can blaze your own trail. My mission is to get you motivated, inspired, and equipped to get into massive action and go on your very own Play Big journey. My mission is to empower at least 10,000 women to fully step into their Play Big self by offering healing, transformative, inclusive, and neurodiverse affirming coaching and content. Through innovative coaching programs, courses, and masterclasses, we provide the tools, support, sustainability, and community needed to help each woman embrace her unique path to confidence, success, and meaningful impact. If just 10,000 women with invisible disabilities and their allies were empowered with neurodiverse affirming and inclusive communication to express their unique brilliance, step into their authority and autonomy, and lead, the world would experience a profound shift towards inclusivity, innovation, and empathy. These women would break through societal limitations, modeling resilience, creativity, and strength of diversity. Their voices and perspectives, often shaped by unique experiences with challenges and perseverance, would redefine business leadership, inspire systemic change, and create spaces where diverse ways of thinking are not just accepted, but celebrated. Industries and communities would become more accessible and inclusive, with practices that honor varied ways of working, communicating, and achieving. This change would ripple into every area of life and society. Workplaces would become more adaptable, offering a culture of respect for individual strengths. Healthcare and education systems would improve, centering accessibility and compassion in their approaches, and policies would evolve to better support those with invisible challenges, benefiting society as a whole. So many women with so much potential are shrinking in the face of their own brilliance, just sitting on the sidelines waiting for permission instead of getting in the game. The activation of the latent potential in these women, their empowerment, making them visible, would inspire others, reduce stigma around invisible disabilities, and encourage everyone to lead authentically. Their successes will light the way for countless more women to rise, creating a culture of true diversity where every person feels valued, included, and emboldened to contribute their brilliance and lead with it. If you know you are ready for more clarity, confidence, and you want to embody your play big self and be supported around creating the big vision for your life and business, then send me an email at info@playbigqueen.com telling me why this work is so important for you, and we can explore opportunities to work together and make your play big dreams a reality.